Okay.
My name is Chastity Buckley. I'm the host of Midnight R&B Edition, homage the Midnight Love BET, where I give all my flowers to all my R&B artists, singers, songwriters, and producer. And I'm here with an R&B and hip-hop legend. I'm going to have to bow down to you, sir. Bow. Because when I say you have been a part of my childhood since the age of 11 years old, since 2000, I mean, your music is timeless. And it's so crazy, Ron, because, you know, Dilemma's still getting played everywhere. You know, Kelly Rowland just posted.
Yeah, that's crazy because all week long people have been sending me videos of those old people that the karaoke board.
Right.
So, that's crazy because it's like 15, almost what, 17 something years later. Like people
no, it's
still
20 now. It's the 20th anniversary.
God,
That song's 20 years old. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. But let me go back to my introduction to you, sir. Since we talked about, since I threw Dilemma out there, congratulations on that hitting 1 billion views, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, R&B
YouTube,
producer.
that money, YouTube, that.
Come on. Let me know about that YouTube money. You know, I'm starting off the YouTube money, so I'm starting my way up there. Well, let me probably back and introduce you. So you are a R&B legend, a hip hop legend as well. Not even that, you are a producer, a songwriter, an iconic person that has been in the chains in the game since the 2000s. The one, the only Ryan Dimitri Bowser. Now, I don't know if I want to call you Ghost. Do you still go by Ghost or you don't go by Ghost?
Some people those close to me call me Ghost, but you know, I like people just call me Ryan Dimitri. You know,
I'm gonna call you Ryan since I'm new to you and you new to my family on my platform. I gotta call you your respect. So, Mr. Ryan, thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I want to celebrate because we are definitely talking about today is the 15th anniversary of Pretty Ricky's sophomore album, Late Night Special, that you are a part of, that you have done so much great things. Did leave it all up to you, and it's crazy because I was seeing it last week. A lot of people 15 years ago around the time when the album dropped, people were like girls like my age. Well, at the time when we were 17 and 18, we were all dancing to this album, and it's just so dope. And Pretty Ricky is like that H-Sound, Jodeci type of S group, and I like for you to just be a part of their legacy. It's just so dope. And not even that, your music has stood the test of time because I'm here talking to you now about this iconic album, but not even that, I'm just honored and happy to have you on the platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think you know, when I think about that particular project, it's interesting because it really, if you listen to Dilemma and you listen to that record, there are certain elements that are in that record. You know what I'm saying? And I think during that time, music just needed that kind of energy in that space.
It did.
You know, and I think that's what makes, you know, timeless hits great, because timeless hits can always enter a space where there's different things that's happening, and then you have this one moment where one song will come in and it'll just start changing the dynamics of it, you know?
Come on.
And I think that's what, you know, that's what Emma did. That's what, you know, the record with Pretty Ricky did, you know, and I think that's why, you know, them doing the record, initially, I won't lie, I was shocked because they were so used to being the bad boys of R&B.
Of the 2000s.
Yeah, like that was a shock. So when I heard them do the Leave It All Up to You record, I was like, wow. I was like, that's it. And so I think that's an honor in itself to, you know, for them to have to do that. Yeah.
Okay, well, before we do get to that, we're going to get back to that, talking about the process and everything. We want to get to know you as a person, you know what I'm saying? But before I do get to that, I want to check on, because I do a mental health check on my audience and stuff like that, and people that come on my platform. How have you been doing since the pandemic has happened?
Man, let me tell you something. I hate this pandemic.
Me too.
I hate it. No, because it's, I think the reason why I hate it, number one, you know, I end up coming down with COVID at one point.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry about that.
It was bad. It was bad. And after I recovered and made it through it or whatnot, you know, I lost a lot of family members to it as well.
I'm sorry about that.
So I think, you know, I think the world is in this place where mentally we all don't know what's up. You know, we don't know how you contracted. Everybody says, oh, it's just a flu, it's this. It ain't that. It's not that. So I think, you know, mentally, I'm doing good. It's a lot of people out here that's not doing good. I think we have to respect each other's space. You know, whether you wear a mask, if you ain't gonna wear a mask, then keep your distance. If you're gonna wear a mask, that's what's up. Right. I don't think it should be something that you're forcing somebody to do. But human beings, as mankind, we have to be respectful for everybody's space, and that's pretty much it.
Right, right. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm happy that you're still here because God, like I always say, God, unless God say so, that's the only way. Because at the end of the day, God has you here for a reason. I'm just honored to have you, and not even just that. I'm just so happy to tell you a story about who you are as a person because you really, really have set a landmark for a lot of us in the new millennium. But not even that. I'm just happy that you're still here on this earth. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad to still be here too because I got some new music I'm ready to put out and work with some
I,
new artists.
You know I'm ready. You know I'm ready. I asked your partner Antoine. I was like, when
Yeah,
y'all coming out with this new music? He said, well, we coming. I said, well, it's 2022, so I'm still waiting. So I'm still waiting.
yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up.
Oh, okay. So now I know you are from the St. Louis, Missouri, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And also being a part of that, I wanted to ask you, how did you get your influence of R&B music, or not even just that, just music in general? And who were some of your inspirations? Because I learned about you, you have like a musical background. I think your family, y'all were involved in church a lot,
Yeah.
and not even just that, you have some like influence in that music realm. So how did you get your start in that?
For me, well, one, it was a natural gift. And just growing up in that element, my father, he was an assistant pastor, and my mom, she
Yeah.
was a pastor. So both of them were in the choir in their younger years, and as they got older, then they started getting involved in church. So naturally, it was just my turn. You know what I'm saying? It was just my. So coming along with it, I grew up around a lot of different music, not just church music. I grew up around jazz and R&B and country and so forth. Because even though my parents were ministers, we still had a balanced home life. Like we
Yeah.
still let us listen to what was out there. Now they were very how can I put it? They weren't strict, but they were saying, okay, you can only listen to this right now. And as you get older, your ear palette can expand. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm.
so so musically, that's where that kind of came from. And then just really, when I got into my teenage years, then I started playing for different choirs in St. Louis. Then, just started being in the studio a lot on my own. Then obviously me and Bam linked up. So it just kind of evolved. And then from there, then that's when I got into like the producers. So like for me, it was like,
Mm.
it was Babyface, it was those guys, really Babyface, because I used to study a lot of his arrangements. Because I think when you're doing songs, his songs always had like this dynamic to it. It always had
Right.
some R&B feel to it. It just had emotion to it. And so I just always just would sit and just listen, dissect, and understand, try to understand why did he do this change here? Why is this instrument here? So just through the culmination of all of that,
Yeah.
that's kind of like how my music palette just kind of like kind of.
Mm. Yeah, I was learning about your discography too, like listening to some of your music. Like you have that Babyface X type of thing where you make it a crescendo of like slow jam R&B, but you add an element to it. And I feel like to me, like you were catering to women, but you wanted to bring men into the involvement of your music. You know what I'm saying? Like with Dilemma and with Toya I Do. It's like you have this thing that's, geared towards women, but I can see the man can feel it too. You know what I'm saying? Like we talked about that.
Yeah, I think I think music doesn't just belong to one gender.
True.
I think music is supposed to be a universal language. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I think however music touches a male or a female, that's up to the person that's listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
My job to create it and just put it out there. I don't, when I'm creating, I really don't trip off of who's this gonna be for. You know what I'm saying? Like I just go there with an open mind. I just say, well, all right, this is gonna be what it's gonna be, and hope
Yeah.
somebody. I just go from there.
Oh, well, I think it's dope because, like I said, I sit back and look. I'm like, ooh, I like it. It's for me. Like I feel like it's for me, but I can say, oh yeah, I can see the men like can flow and vibe to this. Like when we talk about with Jodeci. Jodeci had that S where they wanted to cater to women, but they made it cool to have men love their music too with the army realm. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah. And I think that's the thing about it because when you look at that era of R&B music,
Mm-hmm.
like the Jodeci, you know what I'm saying? Like they just brought a whole energy. Like you, and I think you said it best. Pretty Ricky, they were that Jodeci for that young
They
generation,
were.
next generation. And I think, when you look at it like that, we look at males in R&B now, I think that's just what's the word I'm looking for? I think that's just a downspill of what was started before them. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
To include that male energy, because I think along with the male energy, you got the female energy. And I think those two things balance each other. And it's needed because
Yes.
because when you get down to R&B, it's all about love. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. The love.
No, real talk, it's all about love. So I think you have to have both perspectives.
Yeah.
You know, in the music.
Very true.
I think that's what that does.
Exactly. Very, very true. So I know we definitely got to talk about that and talk about you and how the way you were influenced. I know for your start, you definitely got your producing part. You were in a skating ring and you started producing your records. Like, is that how you and Bam kind of met around that time?
No, so let me tell you how we met. So
okay,
right after my father had passed away, right?
Yeah. So sorry about that.
So thanks. So what happened was me and my mom was like, how did you feel about continuing your father's dream? I said, well, I really didn't at the time, at the age I really didn't put two and two together what she was asking.
Yeah.
I was just like, all right, daddy did it, so I'm with it. So I'm gonna finish it. And we would put up these flyers, and my mom had me put up this flyer in the barbecue shop, right? And so Bam sees it. All this, now, mind you, I didn't know Bam. I didn't know Bam at the time.
Right.
And so when he sees the flyer, he gives me a call. No, he calls. He talks to my mom. That he comes over, and we end up meeting. That was the first time we met.
Oh.
So he had songs that he had written because he's a good writer.
Yeah.
And we started working on one record. I can't remember the name of it, but I remember we worked on that song like for weeks and weeks and weeks and months and months and months. I don't even finish the record, real talk. And then from there, we just kind of evolved. We just started getting to know each other, and he would still come over. Then he started doing vocal lessons at one place. I think he was going to be an artist or something like that. I'm not sure, but
yeah,
our involvement with each other, it just started evolving. Evolved. Then we just started just writing records together. So he would come over to the house, we'd go upstairs, be in there in the studio, my little makeshift studio. I had a lot of keyboards and stuff in there and all of that.
Oh, wow.
So we'd be there producing, and then he ended up getting a job at the skating rink.
Okay.
He ended up getting a skating rink. And so when he got that job, he was like, hey, I got a plan. And I was like, okay, what's the plan? Now, by this time, we became friends and so forth, whatever. So he says, yo, I'm going to take you somewhere. So I knew the skating rink, but I didn't know it was a studio in the skating rink at the time.
Oh, wow.
So when we ended up going to the skating rink, then that's kind of like how we end up meeting, like the Lunatics and all of it. Like everything, just the pieces just started kind of coming together. And so from that's how we ended up starting producing music out the studio in the skating rink.
Right. And I know you.
Yeah, then we ended up going to the tire shop, but I'm gonna let him tell you that story.
The tire. I love the tire shop. Well, he didn't tell me that story. So, like I said, you're telling me more involvement of it.
I'm gonna let him tell that story.
Oh Lord! Look, if I hear,
we're gonna tell that story off camera.
Okay. Well, you know what's funny? I think it's dope that how the way y'all got y'all started, being in the skating ring, because it's so crazy, because skating ring is so fun, fun, good, feel good music. But that was very interesting how they came about. But then also too, I know you some background for the Free City album with the Groovin' Tonight for Brian McKnight, and I thought that was dope, because I was like, wow, City Spud, I heard he played like a huge intricate role in your life. And I know City Spud did a lot of stuff with Brian McKnight as well on his album. I remember I honored him last year for the 20th anniversary. But it's just so crazy how you guys are really involved in R&B like that, because we know Nelly and Say Lunatics, that's straight hip hop. So I'm like, wait a minute, how y'all R&B, hip hop, groove vibes, but not even that, y'all just made it dominant for dope music.
Well, see, what people don't realize is that St. Louis has a rich history in jazz and R&B. People don't know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's such an influx of talent that's there.
Yeah.
And even when you look at Nelly, for example, like, people see him rap. Like, I remember Nelly at Saints, and I can't remember the record that me and City was working on, but he comes in there, and I think that was the first time I heard Nelly sing, and I was like, this dude can sing. Like, for real. Like, I knew he could rap, but he was just playing around. But when I heard him sing, I said, wow, this dude can really sing. But when you look at his career and where he's evolved to, it makes sense. You see what I'm saying? Like music now. That's not foreign. Like, what you're seeing now, Nelly always did that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he always done that. It just took the world time to catch up to where he is. And I think that's what anything new is at. And that's why I encourage songwriters, producers, don't be afraid to be different and step out there and do new things, because the audience may not catch on to it right now. Yeah. But don't worry about that. Just give it time. You see what I'm saying? And that's all that happened. Time just caught up to where we were where Nelly was, where City was. It just caught up, and people was like, "Dang, y'all got R&B and hip hop mixed together." But that's something we always did, you know. It's in our yeah.
Well, I agree with that because I said, looking back at a lot of stuff for me, I didn't really realize y'all were heavily involved in R&B. Like I said, I didn't know y'all worked with Brian and Knight, and then y'all got on with Toya, which is my favorite song. I do shout out to Toya for that because Ryan, I love that song. And the first time I heard that song, I was 11 years old, living in Texas, and Dallas, Texas, and I heard that on the radio, and I'm like, "What is this?" It changed my life. It was so dope.
Wow.
I love that song. I love it. I told Bam last year on the on our interview about how big the song was. I mean, it hit 50 million viewers in 2001. So your song was really impactful.
Wow, I never knew that. You know, and here's the funny part. I always wondered, did people ever pay attention to that record? I do.
Oh yeah. It was number 33 on the BET playlist. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because when you produce it, like, you never, like, one thing, when we produce records, we never go back and listen to it. It's like, once it's out there, it's out there. Like, I never go back and listen to anything I produce. I never do.
What? Wait. Time out. Right? Wait, are you serious? That song was huge.
I never do.
That song was pop, hip hop, rap. Like, it was dope. It was hit everywhere.
Like, and it's nothing against the artist on the record. It's just, for me, when I'm creating it, it's a moment. Like, it's and so once the moment is over, then I just say, okay, that's that, and I just move to the next one, just keep it going. I think that keeps me balanced, and it keeps me focused.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have people that get caught up in that one record, and they try to reproduce that same record over and over and over and over again.
Right.
Like, there was a point in our career where everybody wanted a dilemma, and we was like, man.
2000, y'all had that mug on lock. That's what I said. Like I said, for that song to do what they did, like I said, it hit me at 11. So when I heard Toya I Do, it was very different. Like, I was like, this is something we wasn't used to, because I'm like, where did this beat come from? Right. Where did this vibe come from? And then, like I said, her being from St. Louis, and like I had told Bam last year, like, I said, y'all were really making way for St. Louis producers and songwriters, because, like I said, we wasn't used to these beats. We wasn't used to nothing like this. I mean, we love the South and we're from the South, but for St. Louis to kind of kick doors and make way literally in 2000 and 2001, and then you go in 2002, you really, every year you dominated. Did you notice that? Like, you dominated every year. And I was like, wow, this is huge.
Wow, I'm humbled just knowing that, because I just never realized that. Because sometimes as producers, as creators, you know, we're so focused on the art.
Yeah.
Looking at what's happening in the outside world of things, outside the world, you're just so stuck in that bubble.
Yeah.
Of just producing, just expand and say, okay, how can I put something great out?
Yeah.
So you get caught in the statistics of what they're saying, and the critics, like, you don't. But when you to hear it now, that's deep. Like, wow, I'm gonna have to go research this. Like, okay.
Yeah, I could definitely go see those articles, because, like I said, for me, when I seen that, I was just very shocked, because, like I said, I know I love it for myself, but, you know, to see 50 million people at the end of the year, for you to have so many viewers at that time, and like I even told, Bam, I said it jumped 5 spots in 1 week. You know what I'm saying? For that song to jump 5 spots in 1 week, that's huge. A lot of people can't do that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like with your momentum, and it's starting to make sense to me now, like in 2001, for Toya's album to be what it did, you know, made her way for herself. I can see now you were getting ready to jumpstart in Nellyville. So how did you get on the process with the Nellyville, and how did that come about?
The Nellyville process was interesting, because there was a gap between the Toya and the Nellyville album, and I think me and Bam, just creatively, things were not working. Like, there was this, like, it seemed like no matter what we tried, nothing was coming to light. And it got frustrating for us. It really did. It got discouraging. And I remember being at his house. We were in the basement, because we had a studio in his basement.
Right.
And I think, I want to say maybe it was right before Christmas during this time. I remember him playing Tetris with his brother TJ.
That's what he said.
And I'm on the equipment, and I know. And one thing about Bam, this is one thing. Me and him have had our differences.
Yeah.
In the past, and And one thing I can say about Bam, because we looked at each other like family, he could always tell when my energy was off. He could always, so I wouldn't have to say anything. He could just feel it.
So y'all had that Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis type of
Yeah.
babyface vibe. Y'all knew each other.
It was like, I'm talking about like family, like his, like I would always be at his house eating dinner with his mom. Look, and all of that. But during this particular time, you know, we're coming off the Toya run.
Yeah.
And then we just hit like a slope and trying our best to come with a hit. And so all of a sudden, we end up, we always were friends with City Spud.
Yeah.
So we started giving City, like, we like, yo, him and Bam started talking. Him and Bam really started communicating on that level. And I don't know what conversation they had or whatnot, but I remember Bam ended up giving Nelly about 10 CDs.
Yeah, that's what he said. y'all clicked. That's what he said.
Boy. And either he lost the CDs or he was like, nah, that ain't it. When I say we had 10 CDs, we had 10 CDs full of all tracks.
That's crazy.
You know? And when you're hearing the no for the first time inside your camp, you're like, man, what is it? Like, it's like when Kanye said on one of his songs, he was like, damn, these niggas that much better than me. And you start thinking that because you seeing everybody else place these records, but like, I know I got it, but what's happening? And it was the last CD, the last track on the CD that happened to be Dilemma. Now, what's so crazy about that? Because remember, I told you during this time, we were in the slope. Yeah. I was in depression. Bam didn't know what to do. He was frustrated. He's extras. I'm on the equipment. And I'm just playing these keys. And in fact, I didn't like the track. And I hit stop and left it alone.
What?
It stopped. I finished it.
Okay.
And I remember Bam comes back maybe a month and a half later.
Right.
He say, hey, Kimber, I want to hear something. By this time, I was really almost done with music at this point. Because it was just wasn't working. I was like, maybe that was it for us. Still loved music, but I just didn't love it from that perspective. You see what I'm saying? And so then all of a sudden, he hits play on a DAT machine. And I hear the track, and I'm like, Mo, I know this track already. This is ours. What's so special about it? And as soon as I heard that first note singing from Kelly Rowland, my eyes got wide in the mug.
You got my favorite Destiny Child, okay?
Like for real, like my eyes got so wide, I was like, so at first I thought it didn't dawn on me. Yeah. But then when I heard Nelly's ad-lib, I was like, my posture changed.
And that's when I heard the singing. That's when I first heard Nelly sing for me. You knew, but we didn't know.
And so all of a sudden I'm standing in his basement. He's sitting in front of that. Bam is playing his record. And I'm listening and I'm like, and I just looked at him. I didn't even know what to say after that moment. And then all of a sudden it just seemed like everything just took off for us. It just came out of nowhere. Now, mind you, that track was made at the most depressing time of our life. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like, we didn't foresee that coming. Like, we knew we had the talent, but we didn't see that moment coming. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, like, oh, we knew it was going to be a hit. No, we didn't know that because we were just trying to make it. We were just trying to check so we can pay bills and I can take care of my kids and do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all we was thinking. Right. That one record is what set our life on fire after that moment. You see what I'm saying? That was a divine thing. That was the Lord. Like that
Come on.
Like straight up.
Amen.
That was not talent. Oops, hold up, y'all. Hold up.
It's okay.
Sorry, y'all. Sorry.
It's okay, Trust. We have some crazy moments on this show. So look, you are good. Yes, he's speaking about dilemma. Yes, he is.
that was a dilemma right there.
Yes.
So that wasn't anything that was done by us. That was God's timing saying, all right, you want it, here you go. And after that, we didn't look back.
Come on.
Didn't.
Come on.
Back, we kept going. And we went as far as we could go. You know what I'm saying? And I think to have gone as far as we can go, and now, what'd you say, 20 years later, you seeing people doing remakes of the song, and they doing these TikTok videos. It blows my mind. I ain't gonna lie. Every time I see a TikTok or somebody inboxes me, would say, "Yo, this your song playing here," and I'm like, I would have never guessed that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I tell everybody that's watching this show right now, don't stop doing what you're doing.
That's
Do
right.
not stop doing what you're doing, because it's important. You're gonna have those down, slopey moments. Sometimes the rocket happens fast. You don't want it to happen fast.
Yeah.
You want to even pace, and just pace yourself and be patient. Don't give up. Just stay with it. And somebody's gonna, that one person, because for us it was Nelly.
Yeah.
Nelly that one record, and it was I think it was almost like the last record on his album.
Yeah, he said it was the last one. Y'all the same story. Mm-hmm.
He was literally in the other room, if I'm not mistaken. He was recording the record while they were literally mastering and getting ready to package up Nellyville.
Wow.
So it made it like in seconds to the album. So that was nothing but the Lord.
Come on, Ryan. You know what? Ooh, everybody's just loving this story that you're talking about. And I agree, because, like I said, for me, when I first heard it, you know, in Louisiana, because I had moved at the time, I moved to Louisiana too. So it's like, when I heard this song, the beat caught my attention. It was so beautiful. It was so infectious. And I was like, it's a hit. I don't know what this song did. I don't know what the melody and it just, for me, it was just, it felt like it was just a beautiful ballad. And somebody saying shout out to Patti Bell. Yes, it was the Patti Bell Sam. But I heard you said something about you didn't like do it, like you didn't think it was like Patti or something like that. Or how did you interpolate it, or how was that about?
Really, this was crazy.
Okay.
No,
and the gambling hoof.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that I never set out to sample that record. I never did. I literally, Bam will tell you, I literally came down in this basement, got on that MPC, and I think at the time we were using a JV. We were using a Roland JV 2080. And I've always been, you know, here on the keys, always, just from being in church.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just remembering church chords that I played.
Yeah.
And so to hear the Patti melody thrown on top of that.
Yeah.
It was, I never would have saw that. I never, a million years, that's what that was going to turn out to be.
Wow.
Never. So for me, when I sit back and think about it, I be like, man, I wonder what does Gamble and Huff, like, what do they think about? You know what I'm saying? How do
they love it. They posted They posted it the day it hit 1 million views. They posted on their page.
Yeah, like, to me, that was the magic in itself, because like I said, it wasn't like we sat down and said, all right, we're going to take this Patti melody, put it here. Like, it just happened. You know, real time. It did what it did on its own.
Yeah, for it to hit, and that song to replace Nelly's song in 12 weeks of #1 and become number 64 Billboard's greatest songs of all time in the 2000s. You really, Ryan, made a mark. Like I said, for kids my age, and I remember Once Park, it was #1 for weeks. They would play that mug everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But to be a karaoke song for people, and like I said, for all races and all walks of life, that goes to show you that you made a hit. And those old people, they're from Florida, where Pretty Ricky's from. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna do a record with them for real. We're gonna watch. I'm gonna do a record with them. We're gonna go viral. They're gonna be laughing.
No, you are not doing that. You gonna do a record with those old people?
Mark my words. I'm gonna find them. We're gonna do a record watch.
Well, just
for the fun of it.
I'm done. The daughter, she's been like making sure, let people know that's her mom and her daddy, and pretty much making sure that, you know, that song, and like I said, for that song to just touch so many people and hit 1 billion views. I know you were super proud when you found out it hit 1 billion last year. I know you were very, very excited.
Yeah. You know, the one thing that, you know, people, the ringing question that I get, you know, about that record, it's not so much the record.
Yeah.
But everybody's wondering, will the Nimrods get back together?
The Nimrods. Oh, yeah, that is y'all. Do you want to get back together with the Nimrods?
I think the era of the Nimrods is done.
Yeah.
Done, because it was, me and Bam were two different people then.
Like, yeah, and I get it, because everybody has those creative differences. Yeah.
Right. I think, is there a shot for Bam and Ryan to do something? Yeah.
I hope so.
I'll say that. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Because remember, we didn't start off, like, and I go back to the start of our story. We didn't start off saying, all right, we finna form this team.
True.
It just happened.
Yeah.
You know, I'm open to anything.
Oh.
I'm open to anything because that's always family. He's always family.
Yeah, and definitely for sure.
Family,
No,
he's family before he's producing. You know what I'm saying?
and
That's
that's
that.
why. Exactly. And that's why I want to always make sure, like, I don't never want the industry to break up people, especially when you have history with people. And, like, with that being said, I know sometimes, when things take off you, people do change. Like I said, as time goes on, people and life really do change. But I hopefully, for sure, for my prayer for you guys, I hope you do one day get back together because I know for sure y'all made history, y'all made magic, y'all made timeless music that I've listened to since the age of 12. Well, 11. But going back to that, I mean, for your catalog to be huge in the way it took off you with Dilemma, you guys have really set a mark for all of us. You know what I'm saying? And, you did songs with Monica. My favorite song, though, Gotta Go Home. I'm mad she didn't play that on Versus. I'm mad she did not play that on Versus. I'm still pissed off at that. But I'm happy, it's getting the recognition it is now because of the passing of DMX. And I wanted to ask you, like, how was it working with DMX at the time when you did that record?
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. I think what people don't realize is that the world lost a genuine soul.
Amen.
And to have to have a moment in his presence and talk to him and just interact with him and just see how he really, like, everything we saw is who he was. And
what?
Like, no lie, everything we saw is who he was.
And
I don't mean the negative media stuff. I don't mean that.
Yeah.
I mean the person who was really about praying, the person who really was about looking out for his boys, the person who really loved his dogs, the person who really loved rap music, the person who was very creative. That's who he was. I think when we were in LA and recorded the record, because the story behind that record, Don't Gotta Go Home, we recorded that record almost 10 different times.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
damn, ain't tell me that.
Yeah. Man, look, we flew from, we were, I think at the time we were living in Miami. So we did the track there.
Okay.
Then I think we started semi-recording it there. Then we went to New York to do the record. Then we came back to Miami to do the record. Then we flew out to LA to do the record just to get back to Miami with the final thing that we did in LA to be told, all right, now we got to go to Atlanta and we would do the record. So then we flew to Atlanta to do the record. And we did some of the revisions of the record for Clive Davis to turn around and say, well, I like the rough version better. And that's what ended up going to the album. Was the rough.
And that's the best one.
Right. But what struck me in that moment, it wasn't so much the flying back and forth that really stood out with X. For me, it was, we were talking in the studio because he really wanted to work with us. He wanted us to do tracks for the Rough Riders. And yeah, matter of fact, we ended up going to Yonkers to the Rough Rider studio to get his verse. But for some reason, yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like that record has so many. Man, that record went through a lot to get to Monica album. You know what I'm saying?
What? Wow.
And so the thing that kind of stuck out for me for that record was that we ended up having a conversation. I know it was me, Bam, our lawyer at the time, and X and a few of his guys were there. And he was up to listen to the track, and he had this book. And I saw it sitting there, and I asked him, I said, what's that? He said, he said, you talking about this? And I'm like, yeah. He said, this is a book I carry around with me all the time. It's called Promises. And he's like, I read this. He says, it reminds me every day of what's for me, what's meant for me.
That's right.
And that moment impacted me so much. I never forgot the title of that book. And I went and looked and found that book. And I was like, when I read it, I was like, I see why he had this with him. Because sometimes you get into the industry, and the industry, what I mean by industry, I'm not even talking about the people in the office. It's just the people that, the strangers and the so-called friends.
Oh, yeah, everywhere. Sharks and criminals,
yeah.
yep.
Yeah, and they'll try to either tear you down or use you, but you always remember what God promised you. Because if you don't, you'll get caught up in that illusion of this industry is trying to tell you what you're entitled to have, what they're trying to tell you as far as you're gonna go. Yeah. And see, that DMX career, his career went as far as he wanted it to go.
Yes, he did. He controlled his destiny.
Yeah, because of that. You know what I'm saying? He may have had a few bumps here along the road, but that's who hasn't had bumps in the road before. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and I think that's what made him so genuine to the world, because we got to see the superstar, but we also got to see the human being. And the human being, he didn't place his all in all into the music industry. He trusted God. And I think that's an important lesson for every producer, songwriter, artist, engineer, whatever you're trying to be in life, period. You know, you have to let God guide your life in this process of following your dreams. Because if not, you'll lose yourself. You'll forget who you are.
Yeah.
Or make it for real, you cannot lose sight of God's promises and who you are. Don't forget who you are.
That's right. Oh, Lord, you dropping so many gems. I'm so done with you, Ryan. You can preach to me all day because you know I follow you. So, like, I love how you were just talking about you put God in place in every journey you have done in this process and being in the music industry, period. Because I feel like God has like led you to so many beautiful things. That I pretty much ever since Dilemma, you know, your career, you and Bam's career just took off. Y'all just went off like a firecracker. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like when God does that for you, he's trying to make a way for you. But not even that, make sure that you meet important people that really have changed your life. But not even that, make sure that you keep focus of what the goal and your purpose of your journey in this industry is, you know? And, you know, I'm just super proud because, like I said, you did my song, one of my other favorite songs, My Baby, My Cousin, who was a 30-something-year-old man. When that song dropped, he bought the whole album because of that song.
Really?
Yes. My cousin, every time he would play that song in Louisiana all the time. And Bam told me y'all had recreated so many versions of it. I want to hear the Mario version. I'm still hurt about that. So,
oh, let me tell you something. Oh, no, listen.
Oh, no.
The coldest version of that My Baby record had Usher on it.
He told me, he said Usher. I said, oh, I'm a Mario fan, but I love Usher. But he said Usher, what he said was the best one.
Mario killed it. Don't get me wrong. Mario killed the record. But Usher, and it was right before he dropped Confessions.
Okay, I was going to ask him.
Like Confessions probably came out that following year.
Yeah.
I don't know what Usher was doing that entire year before vocally. He must have been with his vocal coach like every day. When that boy jumped on that record and started hitting all these high notes, I said, this is going to be Grammy #2 right here.
Ooh!
I saw it, but then, you know, here come the industry. Just got to shoot it down.
I hate that.
Yeah, that's like. But think about it. But here's the great thing. That moment, even though that version didn't come out, it was still a great record because I would have never thought that record would be on 106 in Park as long as it was.
Oh, yeah, it went #1.
Yeah, and it stayed there for a long time, and I was like, wow.
He was Mr. 106 in Park. I mean, y'all had no choice. So, I mean, you got what I'm saying?
But you know, when you hear that, like, you hear it, like, that time, I think Bow was, like, what, 16? He was, like, 15 to 16 at the time.
Yeah, he was growing. He was growing.
Right. And so when you hear him say that, you're like, okay, you just being real facetious right now because you're 16. So that's But then when you see it, and you like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
What's dope is that on that album, I think Pharrell and them was on that album.
Yeah.
I can't think of the other producers that was on that album. I know Jazzy was on that album.
T.I. was on there too.
Yeah, T.I. was on the album.
T.I. was on there too.
T.I. wrote one of the records that we had did for Bow on that record.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow. But my cousin, he played that song. He loves that song. When I tell you, the year he bought that album, the only song he would play was My Baby. And I'm like, bro, you love this song a lot. He was like, yeah, it's the jam. I mean, he's married, but I mean, at the same time, for him to buy that album because of that one song, that goes to show you that your music's timeless. You know what I'm saying? You're touching people from all ages. You know what I'm saying? But not in that, Ryan, your music is just so beautiful, and the melodic tune of it, it can be going into hip hop or R&B or pop. You know what I'm saying? So, but like I said, I always said music has no genres. It's just music is music, and like I said, it always touches the soul, and that's why I always give producers a big shout out, because producers to me are my favorite. Rodney Jerkins is my #1 favorite producer of all time. I just love him, and you kind of reminded me of him and his story. Your story with Steve Soul and Huff. I interviewed him last year with Avant, and you and his story sound so similar about your father's playing so many influential roles in your life, especially with music. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, he sadly lost his dad around the same age you lost your father. So that alone right there, your father has really, really played a huge instrumental role and to keep going with music. But not even that, you're going to change people's lives with this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, for me, you know, my dad played a tremendous part of my life. You know, my dad was, once he found out I had that gift, he was on me. Like, he stayed on me. You know, there were times I would want to go outside. He'd be like, no, you're going to be practicing right now.
Right.
And I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't see far out what he saw. But I think that's the importance of any father, though, because
right.
father can help really put you on a path and a trajectory. Once your father give you the okay, can't nobody else, like, you ain't tripping off what nobody else saying. And that's what it was to me. Even when my father passed away,
Yeah.
I never lost sight of what he said. He just go as far as you want to go. Don't worry about what everybody else gonna say.
That's right.
I haven't stopped, and I think having that kind of dad in my life and really that energy that he really poured into me,
yeah,
I'm just a byproduct of what he saw and what God told him.
Amen. Oh Lord, I just love it. I just love your story. Your story is just so powerful and beautiful, and I'm just so proud of you and everything that you done, especially with music wise. Like I said, all the music that I've listened to growing up, especially your catalog is so huge. You've done so much. So now we want to get to talking about the Mr. Pretty Ricky the group Pretty
Let's
Ricky.
go to the Bad Boys R&B.
Oh Lord, the 2000 Bad Boys of R&B. So I wanted to ask you, how did you get introduced to them, and like, was it around the time where you because you came after the Blue Stars album, the 2005, you got on the '07. So like, were you introduced to them to that? And then not even that, did you get to meet Static Major around that time when y'all were making the album?
Kid you not. So here's what happened for that record.
Okay.
I'm in the studio at this time. The Nimrods had split.
Oh, y'all split up.
We had split. So Bam was still doing this thing. I was still doing mine. And I had a studio. I think that's how we were both in Atlanta at the time.
Okay.
So at the time, it's the A&R. Who was the A&R at the time? His name was Damon Eden.
Okay.
He was over at Atlantic. And so at the time, my manager said, somebody want to meet you. Now, I'm in the middle of a studio session with all my writers. Now, at the time, my studio used to be packed with tons of writers, like tons of writers. Like,
good Lord.
It's like a madhouse. So he walks in, and all of a sudden, Damon walks in. I turn around. I'm like, man, what's up? Because we had a history with him. Like, me and Bam had a history with him. I'll talk about that another time.
Right.
But we had a history with him. He was good. Like, we saw him come up to the ranks of being an A. So we already knew who he was. And so he walks into the studio. He said, he said, I want to talk to you about something. I said, what's up? He says, Pretty Ricky. I said, let's go. That's all I said. I said, let's go. Hold up. He said, it's a track that you and Bam did. Now, at that time, me and Bam went on the best of terms with each other.
Yeah.
But I heard that, they wanted this track that we did. And I said, I listened to it. I don't think they had recorded it yet, or I think only a piece of it was recorded.
Okay.
And so I said, all right. I said, let's do it. I said, dude, cool with it. I said, Bam, cool with it. I said, I'm cool with it too. I said, ain't no need of us letting the bad record go to waste.
That's right.
Ain't no need
it's
to do
business.
It. Right. Like real talk. I mean, just being honest. And so I ended up signing off on it, and then we started getting revisions of the record. Now, during the revisions, I think, I don't know if it was Static that wanted to change something in the track. So we went through that whole process of trying to nail it out, trying to nail it down. And then at one point, we didn't hear anything. So we didn't even know if the record was going to make it or not, if it made it or not. So I think it was maybe like a few months later, we had finally heard the final. I heard the final a few months later, and I think maybe Bam did too. And so when I heard it, I was like, this is different. Because I'm used to hearing Pretty Ricky 5 a.m. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm used to hearing they swag on that kind of move. So when I hear the Leave It All to You record, I'm like, at first I just kind of, I make this face like, I don't know. Because it didn't gel. To me, it just didn't gel. But then when I kind of sat back and thought about it and listened, I just kept listening. And I said, all right, this brings balance to the rest of their catalog. It brings balance to it. Because they were so much of being the bad boys of R&B, being the Jodeci of the R&B for that time.
Yes.
That one record it balanced out the album. I was like, all right, I'm with it. So we end up doing the final revision or whatnot musically and got that done. They added, I think one of them added something to the track later, and that was pretty much it, how the record came to life.
And I love it.
That also made me understand that every great record doesn't happen with the producer and the writer and the artist in the same room. Like people say, like that's when the best work is done.
Right.
I've done immaculate work with some great writers and producers and so forth, and we haven't even met each other. We haven't even sat in the same room with each other.
What?
But that's just the power of music. Like, that's the power of God. That's the power of people.
Yeah.
Is that when everybody's on one accord, things can happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No matter where you are, and especially now we got technology. It's like, person can be in China, you do a record from here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it comes together, and all of a sudden you see it on the charts or something.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it just comes down to, you know, do you believe in what you're doing?
That's right. You gotta believe in your craft.
Yeah. You know, or are you gonna take the time out to perfect it and really get it, you know, really make the record great and not just okay.
Right.
And that was the one thing with all of our records, when you look over our catalog, we've had to go back and do revisions several times of probably every record we've ever done. Like, I can't remember, maybe Bam can remember, but I don't think there's ever a time where we just hit it right off the bat the first time. Wow. I think we've always done revisions, but I think that's what the creative process, that's what makes it dope, because when you can go back and just keep sharpening it and sharpening it and sharpening it, and then you get to that point, you're like, I've sharpened it enough, now it's ready. And now, I'm not saying that every moment is like that, because sometimes you do hit it right off the bat and you just throw it out there and it works. But I think as you become more skillful and you become more professional in your craft and you take it more seriously, you really pay attention to detail. Right. And I think this record.
Wow, that is dope. You know what? I think you're like the first producer on my show to tell me something like that, because a lot of the people who I've interviewed, I'm not saying they have talked about revisions and stuff like that, but I didn't even know too much that, you know, sometimes you had to work through, you know, revising a song that you feel like is perfect, but some people may not be perfect with them. But at the same time, I think when you get on one accord and understand about, you know, meshing and gelling together, but not even that, making sure that I think everybody has this cohesive thing of how the song is supposed to blend. And that's why I talk about blending in bridges and all this ballad stuff. We need to bring a lot of that back now in this day and age. But for me, I just feel like I understand now what it is, what it really means to make a timeless song or make a beautiful record, but not only that, what can make a feel good album. Because like I said, leave it all up to you. I feel like it's that pop sound, but it's R&B, it's hip hop, but you can tell it brings the easiness of how it's kind of like, you know, reminds me of Your Body from Pretty Ricky's first album. You know, it has that crossover appeal. You know what I'm saying? Like you did with Dilemma. But looking back at it now, you can tell it's that R&B hip hop, but you can tell it's that 90s groove, that beat. You know what I'm saying? Your producer skills, you know, I ain't gonna touch that.
We're like the 90s is what really set us up to have the run that we had, because when you look at just, man, all those groups that came from the 90s, like even now you see artists that are sampling things from the 90s.
Yeah.
It was just an energy that was just there. It was a love that was there.
Yeah.
That made music enjoyable. Versus now, music is kind of like, all right, we're going to play it a whole bunch of times and force it down your throat.
Yeah.
You force it down your throat. And I'm not saying that there's not a lot of great songs out there. I'm not saying it at all. But it's a rare to find great songs nowadays.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's playlist sounds the same nowadays.
Very.
Versus in the 90s, you had these different elements. You just had a lot of... But it worked, though. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what's important, is that, you know, you when it comes to music, you know, we always go back and reach from an era.
Yeah, we do.
And we pull it forward. You know what I'm saying? Look at Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars went all the way 90s. He was like, I'm feeling the 2000s right now.
Exactly.
And the person that I think, from what I heard, when he did the 24 Karat Magic record, I think he rewrote that like 10 different times before he put it out.
I can believe it, and you're correct, because he sampled Shy.
Yeah.
He sampled Shy. So they're going back into that 90s R&B bag, but you, like you said, you have to make it your own too if you're going to go back in that realm. You know what I'm saying? And that's why with you doing Dilemma, I didn't know myself when I was a young child it was the sample to Patti LaBelle. I'm just thinking this is a beat, something we ain't never heard of, but it sounds so beautiful. I don't think about, I'm not being shady, but I don't think about Patti. I think about Nelly and Kelly. You get what I'm saying? Because the beat sounds so unfair. It sounds 2000s. It sounds like R&B, hip hop, but not even that. It brings that balance, and not even that. It crosses over to all walks of life. You get what I'm saying? For you to do that, it's like, I can honor my legends, but I'm going to make something legendary for me in my own right. If that makes sense.
Right. And that makes sense. I think every generation, because I don't know how long Dilemma going to be around. I really don't know.
Forever. I'm sorry, but if it hit 2 million views, sorry, it is what it is.
I mean, but that's cool though. I mean, around that long, that God willing, like I'm all for it.
Oh.
But I think what it does, everybody's gonna connect to it differently. Like you said, you didn't know who Patti LaBelle was at that. You just said that's Nelly.
That's Nelly.
But the crazy part about it is, as you got older, it led back to Patti LaBelle.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, music has a way of connecting the dots.
Amen.
It doesn't necessarily a straight line. It can go that way, but it'll always lead you back to like its origination, and then you can understand the record more.
Right. And
I always do that.
Exactly. And that's why I said, with the Pretty Ricky album, like you got people I had, posting on my Insta story today about Pretty Ricky. You have people from the UK loving this album. You know what I'm saying? So, and they're making podcasts. Like there's people that's literally making podcasts about Late Night Special, because I feel like this album holds a special place in people's heart for people that didn't get a chance to grow up with Jodeci and Boys II Men. With my era, my group, I got the chance, even though, I'm around that era, but for me, I got to really, really know about my boy bands from B2K, B2K, Pretty Ricky, ATL, all these groups that, came up out about, that came in the 2000s at the time that was trying to keep that boy band, fandom going. But for Pretty Ricky to come through like 3 rappers and a singer, I'm like, wait a minute, what? Like, this is not, not normal.
But you have to think about it, is that when you look at them, but then you got to go back to the 90s and you see.
And I do.
And it's like they did it. Like you have 2 singers and a rapper. I come with all these raps and all that. Then you got T-Boz and Tilly that's singing.
Yeah.
It's like wow. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the 90s really played a tremendous part, in so many people's careers as producers.
It did.
I think it still does.
It does.
I look at my daughters, I look at my kids, and from their style to singing to all of that, they're inspired by it and they're influenced by it. So I think that's just, for us that really was attached to 90s music, I think that's just it.
Yeah.
We'll forever be attached to it because we just remember that was a time where music felt good. Honestly, music needs to feel good again. It doesn't need to feel so harsh and aggressive now. Like, women don't, I get women do want aggressive stuff sometimes. No, I get it. But I think there's still the thing of romance and love.
Balance.
It's a balance to it. Have just the hard stuff. You got to smooth it out some. You got to smooth out. Like Hov said, you got to tear it up, throw on the suit on, put on the button up.
That's right.
Clothes,
Right.
Change clothes. It's okay. Let the music change. It's okay.
That's right.
It's okay to bring different sounds in and songs. It's okay to have a ballad. It's okay to have bridges and vamps in the song. Those things are still relevant. Right? Producers, artists, I'm talking to y'all. Do not get caught up in the hype and think that bridges and vamps and changes are not relevant. People still listen to records. Trust me, they do.
Yeah.
Go back to the 90s. The 90s had all of that.
Amen. Oh, you dropped so many gems, Ryan. I'm so done with you today. I'm done with you. You just been killing the game. So
Amen.
Amen. Look, so I wanted to ask you, like, how did you feel when the album went number 1? Because when it debuted, it went straight to number 1 and went number 1 on the Billboard 200 and the R&B charts back in 2007. So how did you feel when it did that and reached gold?
I never knew that until you just said that.
What? Oh, yes. It debuted at number 1.
Wow.
Out the gate. Like, so when they dropped it, it went straight to number 1.
Wow.
5 consecutive weeks. It went number 1 on the Hotline. Really, I feel like on the Hotline took it huge. And that's why I said for Static and you guys to really, really come together and make this beautiful album. Like, they kept that Blue Stars formula going for Pretty Ricky. Like, the love making, the Jodeci, the H-Town, the Boys, the Man. You get what I'm saying? All this, like you said, bridges and all that stuff. I think a lot of us young groups convey to that because, like you said, if it wasn't for the 90s, we wouldn't have no, Pretty Ricky or B2K. You get what I'm saying? And for that album to shoot straight to the charts at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and the R&B charts, it goes to show you that we paid attention and we loved your music,
Wow.
Yeah, it went straight to number 1. Yes, sir, it did.
I don't know about that right now. That's why I'm taking my time just soaking it. No, for real, because I don't, like, when I tell you, for me, music is such a pure and divine thing for me.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can get so caught up in the charts.
That's true.
you'll really freak out. Like,
Yeah.
I freak out because they song never makes it to #1 or the top 10. And I always told myself I never wanted to be those people that freak. But I think when you do that, you mentally lock in your head, I gotta be
number one. Yeah.
I'm not saying not to win, but I think when you put your mind, the reason why I'm creating this to be #1, you kind of take the pureness out of what you. Then it becomes about something else. And for me, music has never been that. I think my best work that I've done has just been just for the love of it. I don't think that'll ever change. Whether a record I produce ever goes #1 or it's 200 on the charts, I'm like, somebody loved it. I didn't do it for it so people will love it and they can get something from it. That's it.
Wow, that's crazy. You and Bam, he said the same thing. Y'all do music that y'all love. He said the same thing. He did. He said that. But yeah, it went straight to #1. I mean, like I said, for me being a senior at the time, I was actually a graduating senior coming in 2007. And, you know, like I said, all of us in Louisiana, we played. And it's crazy because they would play, even though Pretty Ricky had the album on the Highline and stuff like that, we were going into the album cuts more than we were with the singles. And it's crazy because I feel like for us, when we listen and, you know, dissect albums and just post them on MySpace and stuff like that, we really paid attention to the music, you know? And for you guys to do what y'all did on that album, you know, that was so timeless to me in my era, in my, you know, my age group, you know, it just goes to show you that it meant something to me in the culture. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it went #1, so you should be very, very proud of that. You had #1s, so people should never sleep on you.
No. Most importantly, I just thank the listeners, man, because I think, you know, like I say, it's the audience that makes all this possible.
Yeah.
Because for us, it's just an idea, but when we put it out there, you know, you all really dictate what happens.
Yeah, we do.
Well, you know, you either say, nah, that ain't it, or you like, oh, that's it. Let me buy that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's really the audience. So, you know, I thank y'all, you know, for everything throughout the years. I thank you all for supporting us because, trust me, without y'all support, it's just music that's just sitting out there.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Well, I'm just so happy to tell you about this. I wanted to ask you a question. I got a dying question to ask you, Mr. Ryan. So, since you made all these timeless hits like My Baby, Dilemma, and then you made Orion song Take It Slow, which is crazy because Orion posted that video last year in December.
Yo, when he posted it, I saw it. And
you did? Okay.
I reached out to him, and I told him, I said, let's link up and work. He was like, all right. Like, he responded back.
What?
We were like, because it's been a minute since like that record happened. Like, it's been a long time since that record happened. So we've never really had the chance to like kind of interact because that was another record that happened. We were never in the studio with him.
What?
Kid you not. We were never in the studio with him.
Right.
That's why I'm telling you, a lot of records, you can place these albums. Listen, do not be fooled by the industry jargon. It's a great record. It is a great record, whether it happens in the studio with the artist or whether it happens in your basement. Record is great. It's gonna find a home, and that was example. That record found a home.
Wow. Well, definitely keep Orion in your prayers because recently he just lost his grandmother. I think day before yesterday. So definitely, you know, keep prayers out for them because, you know, Omari and them, they just lost their grandmother. So just prayers out for the family. But yeah, that is so crazy that you did that record because I remember that song in 106 & Park. They played that too. So, you know, that right there. But you made so many timeless hits. I wanted to ask you, so what is the key to making a hit record? And if you know that, what is your favorite hit from your catalog?
Ooh, boy. My favorite record from my catalog. That's okay. My entire catalog? Or
your entire catalog. But what's the key to making a hit record? I want you to answer that question first.
For the key, here's the key. Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
That's it?
That's it. Now, I can't go into detail and tell you my formula.
Okay. I ain't gonna do
that's like Dr. Dre coming out saying, how does he get his kicks to sound so perfect that they punch you back? Like, that's his sauce. But I would say keep it simple and tell stories that are real. That really heart. You got to focus on really focusing on the heart. You know, how do women process feelings? How do men process emotions? You know, what are some of our personal experiences? I think a lot of times we try to fabricate records. And I tell people, no. what's real to you? You know, what are some personal experiences that made you cry? What are experiences that made you laugh? What are some experiences that you can sit back and think, be like, I remember when me and my partner did this. Matter of fact, the go to bed mad record, that
Oh,
record.
with Tyrese and Monica, I forgot you did that too. Yeah, you did.
Go to bed mad. No. I take that back. I take that back. Not that record. The You Don't Gotta Go Home record. That record got wrote. No lie. Me and Ben were in Miami, and we were at Circle House Studios. Now, if anybody has ever gone to Circle House is a big old mansion that has a swimming pool in the back, and it's got a cabana in the back. And at the time, they had the studio. I think we were in Studio B, if I'm not mistaken, or C.
Okay.
And a cabana right across from the pool, where they were shooting a photo shoot outside with these models. Mm-hmm. And I remember the door was open to the studio, so we could hear what was going on. So there's all these women walking around, and the track, we already had the track done. So I'm sitting there, and I started pinning the record out. Bam walks in. He's like, "What you got?" So I said, "Check this out." And he looks. He's like, "Let me take that real quick." And so he starts going through the lyrics, and he's like, "Hey, go in there and sing this real quick. Go in there and sing this real quick." So I went in there and started singing. He was like, "Yo, we need to find a vocal for this record." So I'm saying that example because hit records are really just a body of what happens in your personal life, and you're just putting it on display to music. That's
Amen.
really, that's all it was. Did we think that record was going to turn into something? Nope. But it just so happened out of a moment that we were having in that moment, that's how that record came about. You see what I'm saying? So when you're writing hit records, you don't have to reach into the clouds and snatch anything down.
Right.
Because not a lot of things in your personal life, it's a million other people that are experiencing the exact same thing.
Amen. Yep.
You have to know how to tell the story. So when you're factoring in writing a hit record, it's not so much about, I mean, it's about having a good musical track, but it doesn't have to be super busy with 20 million different chord changes. Keep the structure simple, but make sure the story you're telling is relatable and somebody can connect to it. You don't have to use all fancy words. You don't need all that. Just take the everyday common language that people use and just apply it to the song. Don't oversing it. Don't undersing it. Talk right to the heart. If you sing to the heart will sing back to you.
Come on. Ooh. Baby, the words of the day. But I love that, Ron, because you're coming from an honest perspective, but not even that. You're saying that music needs to touch the soul. Yeah. That's it. It just needs to touch the soul. So, and like I said, I told Bam this. I said that is my favorite Monica song off her album. That's my number one favorite. I heard that when I was 14. I downloaded the CD.
You was doing listen to that song at 14.
Listening, because I love After the Storm. I didn't back then. I didn't understand it. You said what?
I said After the Storm was a great album.
Oh, it was a dope album, and I hate people kind of slept on that album, but for me, I felt like I got to see the real Monica, because back then, you know, when I was young, I kind of knew who Monica was, but I really didn't know who she was. And when I got to 03, I felt like After the Storm to me is like her best album, because I got to really understand her growth, but not even that, she was really, really going through a lot of stuff at that time, and you really, really brought something out of her. And I know you worked with her, Monica. Did you ever meet Monica?
Yeah, man, let me say something. Man, Monica became like family.
Oh.
In the studio, and no lie, and maybe it's just me, but being around Monica, you see the person who sings,
right?
Then when she comes out the booth and she speaks to you, and you're talking, you're just having conversation. Something about that woman reminds me of Whitney Houston, and I kid you not, I don't know what it is.
And that's her idol.
Yeah, and from the day that we've worked, and even when times we were just in passing, just in Atlanta, she'd be like, "Hey Ryan, what's up?" Or she'd be like, "Hey man, what's up?" And we get to talking.
Aww.
Her presence is something about it. It just feels like, man, she reminds you of Whitney Houston. And I think when you have artists like that, you can't, because they really have a story for the world, and it's something that touches the heart. And like I said, she's a person that sings to the heart, and the heart sings back to her. Why she's had such a long career, because nothing about her is fabricated. What you see
is what you get.
Right. She's 100%. She's 100% that. So, you know, to get back to the hit record formula, whatever, just be real in what you say.
Come on.
because the audience can tell when you're lying.
See, that's why I need a TED talk with you. Like, you need to be dropping some gems on these folks that need to learn how to do music. Cause I'm just saying, and that's what we talk about all the time on my show. Like, my show is about real honesty and rawness. I don't care if your industry that's not my thing. My thing is to be honest and speak your truth. And with that being said, music has to speak from all walks of life, but at the same time, it's be honest in what you feel and how you say stuff. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I love hearing the story about Monica because this is the same story I've heard for a long time. Monica's real. She is who she is. And like I said, she still should have played Don't Gotta Go Home on Versus. And I still feel some type of way about that.
I'm sure she probably had a reason. Like for me, maybe it's a personal reason. I don't know. I don't.
Well, I wish it would have got notarized on that. You get what I'm saying? On Versus.
I mean,
Well, you got Dilemma. Nelly played Dilemma, so we know he played.
You know what blew my mind? I was watching when he played it on his Verses, and I'm looking at all the comments, and everybody's like, "Yo, hurry up, play Dilemma." And Nelly, and I'm listening to the records, and Nelly's dropping some bombs.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he plays Dilemma, and the comment that had me floored was Snoop Dogg. When I saw his comment, I said, "Snoop like this record?" That's when you good. That's when you know you made it. Was Uncle Snoop like it? You like, oh man, can't nobody tell me nothing.
Right.
Like for real.
Period.
So, yeah,
Period.
like, but you never realize because those people like Snoop and all of them, like I look at them like those are people that I look up to because before Dilemma and all the record placements came, I was listening to their music.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching their music videos. I was their music trying to analyze like, man, why their music sound this good? And then to turn around, those same people like your stuff, like you can't help but feel some kind of way about that. Like that's and they're honest. And that teaches you that as long as music is honest, the listeners will be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do when you writing these songs and crafting out material, just be honest. Don't sell a lie, sell the truth.
Oh, you just dropping some. Oh my, you just dropping these gems. I just love this interview because it just, like I said, you're topping the year off, just coming with so much great gems, and not even that, you're just talking about honesty of what music is supposed to be all about, and I just love this. Oh, I just love it. So I'm going to ask you, so now since we're in the current age of 2022, Happy New Year to you, sir. Happy New Year.
Thank you, same to you.
Thank you. I want to ask you, what are you doing? What's your current projects that you got going on, and what's going on with you, and how's everything going on with your life? And I know you're in school. Congratulations on that. And you're engaged. Congratulations on that, sir.
She's on her watching. She probably gonna be like,
hey.
Gonna be like, you should have. Why you always got a hat on your interview? That's what I do.
Yeah. Well, look, I got a hat on mine, and I know she's a Delta, so like I said, I'm an AKA, so you know how that is.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get her to do her step because she still won't strut for me.
Oh, well, she wants to strut for you when you get married, so.
All this time, I'd have known all this time. I'm like, man, you ain't no Delta, man.
Oh, don't do that. I got to support my Greek sisters, so don't do that. So how's life treating you in 2022 and what you got going on?
Life is good. Like Future and Drake say, life is good. I'm happy. I'm at a place of peace. And that's big for me because, and Bam could say this, through our career, I've gone through depressions. That's why I understand I've gone through depressions. I've gone through a lot of losses in family, so I'm at peace now. I'm happy. I'm in love. My love for music is back. That's back. Also, just getting involved in ministry, and I'm excited about that. Also work with a new R&B group called Trey Alexa. They're out of Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Oh, and no. When I say they dope, they are dope. They are like, I don't know what it is in D.C., but they've got this energy, this musical energy that's there.
They do.
And I don't know what it is, but these girls, they're young and they're sisters.
Oh, okay.
So I'm doing some work with them and then working on something for myself as well. So really, I'm being very selective this year about what I'm really putting my time and talent to.
So you putting the EP out and ain't telling nobody?
Well, I ain't gonna say. It's gonna be something. It's gonna be something. I'm pretty sure. My fiance says, she says, hey, they gonna love it. They're gonna love it. Because a lot of times as producers, it's easy for us to sit in the background and create for other people.
True.
But when it comes to us, ourselves, we are so judgmental.
Yeah.
I'm so judgmental when I'm listening to me sing or I'm listening to me write. I'm like, I don't like it. Yeah. And so I'll scrap it and throw it away. And I'm like, all right, I'm back to day one again, trying to write this and write it one. But I think I'm at a point now where like I'm ready. You know, there's so much I want to talk about. And there's so much I want to say. And it's just so much of me I want to pour out before I finally say, you know what, I'm ready to hang up the music jersey and just, that's it.
Oh, well, you know, you got a lot to celebrate this year, sir. Because, I mean, you got Nellyville's going to make 20 years. So you got to do something big in June when it makes 20. So you got to do something.
Huh? We're going to ball out.
Y'all better ball out.
We're going to have some fun. That might, you know, never know. The Nimrods might do something one last time.
Well, y'all got to do something one last time because this Nelly is 20 years this year.
Yeah. You know, I'm excited about it. You know, I'm sure, you know, the rest of the squad is excited about it because, you know, it's something that, like I said, we never saw this coming.
Yeah.
We never saw it coming. And it's an honor with so much great, especially, you know, in a time where there's so much, you know, good artists like her, Summer Walker. And you
got Money Long, this new girl Money Long that's making waves.
You have, like, this is really the year of the females musically. Like, R&B-wise, females is winning. They winning. Females is winning.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of music, like female music that I'm hearing, it's a lot of stuff that my fiance plays. So when I'm hearing it, I'm like, man, this is dope. Like, you're like, what you know about this song? I'm like, because you play it all the time and I listen to it. So it's, you know, it's a lot of great music that's out there. And to see Dilemma still holding the test of time, I'm like,
you dominating.
I'm like, man, like I said, it ain't me. It's just the Lord, man. For real.
Yep, I give it all glory to God.
Yeah, you know, maybe that's a sign. Lord saying, okay, look, time for you to come back now. Here's the door. Go, run with it. And if that's the case, I'm gonna run with it.
Well, you get that old couple, you definitely gonna be rolling with it. Look, the old people that keep bringing it back to life.
Yeah, like I'm like, because I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm excited to, you know, to work with the new talent that's out here in the R&B world and really see what's going on. You know, and really leave another mark. And that may, and you know, who knows? That may be the point where, you know, me and Bam may write 1 or 2 records together. I don't know. You know, it's kind of. I always looked at me and him like the baby face at L.A. Reid and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Y'all have this done. Y'all have this conglomerate. Y'all too remind me of definitely those icons. You know, that pretty much have this chemistry that can't be denied. You know what I'm saying? And not even that for y'all to make so many, not just Dilemma, but you made Toya I Do. That song made 20 years last year. I mean, you got After the Storm for to make 20 years next year. You know what I'm saying? So you got some stuff coming up, sir.
you reminded me. I'm like, man, like really?
Yeah, it's gonna be 20 years next year. But it goes to show you that because of the legacy that you have created for yourself, now you have really opened the doors, and that's why I have to give my flowers to you because I have to show you so much respect because I'm so thankful of as a 11-year-old child learning about music or just even trying to be, you know, encouraged because like I said, for my mom to buy a computer at such a young age, she knew I was just into computers, technology, and then me, you know, putting my CDs in the computer and downloading, seeing the composers and the songwriters. I'm seeing all these writing credits on the computer, but now that is going to show me that, hey, it's not just Monica and, you know, Toya or Nelly that's making it. Who's the composer? Who's the producer? Who's the songwriter? And that's how I'm learning about you guys, you know?
Producers are important.
Amen.
Producers are important. Songwriters are important.
Yeah.
You know, they still matter.
Yeah.
Regardless of what, you know, people say, you know, nobody's reading credits. No, I encourage you.
That's a lie.
Reading the credits.
Them line of notes are important.
Linear notes are, it's the reason why we call them linear notes.
Facts. So yes, since today we are celebrating the 15th anniversary of this beautiful, timeless album, Late Night Special, Pretty Ricky. If you had to describe one word, Ryan, about this album, what one word would you describe about Pretty Ricky's album?
Ooh, boy.
Late Night Special.
Late Night Special. One word. I can't even say one word. I'll just say one word. Enigma. That's what it is.
Wow. I call it lovemaking. Lovemaking of the 2000s because it kept that rawness of, it may have that hip hop element, but I can still feel that R&B soul. And I feel like Pleasure P, Shout out to him, so sweet and spectacular. He looked on the Insta story, so thank you, Spec, for looking today.
What up?
Yes, Spec, and just those guys on my right there, they may have had this, raw Jodeci exterior, but the love making songs they put out, will leave it all up to you. Late night special on the hotline for what you guys, Static, everybody, Music Royale that was a part of this, beautiful time, this album, for teenagers to be touched by this album, it goes to show you that we love hip hop, but we really, really love R&B. And I think that's why a lot of people get so enamored about this album, because they love the love making of it. But it goes to show you that two people can be in love with each other, but not even that. They can put this album on and make some babies, or whatever they call it. They making music, if you want to call it that way, in so many ways, but not even that. It just goes to show you that this album is timeless.
Yeah, it is. I think what would be dope, and I don't know if it'll happen, but I would like to see all those earlier 2000 R&B groups just come back one last time.
I know. That's like, I think the Millennium Tour, but I think for like the groups in general, yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah, like,
because we missing groups.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
And, solo artists are good. Don't get me wrong, solo artists are good, but it's something about those groups, man. Like, it's just something about
harmonies.
Yeah, it's the harmonies, it's the show, it's the band, it's everything, it's the whole production of it.
Yeah.
And I hope they come back. I really do. Just one last time.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm so proud of you, though, Mr. Ryan. So I want to ask you another question. Do you have any advice you want to give to people that's trying to get into this music industry?
Stay true to yourself. Don't forget who you are. Please don't. Don't feel like. I'll put it like this.
Mm-hmm.
My sister-in-law told me something years ago that's always stuck with me. She said, "Don't compromise who you are for $1."
Ooh. Yeah.
I know we're in the era of gimmicks.
Yeah.
If that ain't you, don't do it. People told me that I was going to need this, going to have to do it this way, do it that way. I did the way God told me to do it. And I just stayed true to it. Yep, it was a long road. It was a long journey. Yeah, I got knocked down a lot. But guess what? For every time I got knocked down, I kept getting back up. And every time I got up with strength and power and wisdom. And I just kept going and I kept going. I didn't conform to what others wanted me to be.
Right.
I would say just stay true to you. Stay true to the music. Keep the music pure. And above all else, keep the Lord first and foremost centered above everything.
Oh, Lord, Ryan, you have dropped so many gems. I just love this. I love this. This was one of my great interviews of the beginning of the year, and I'm super proud of you, and I'm so honored to have you on the platform like a legend. I'd be so excited about producers. Like Roddy Drake is my number one favorite producer of all time. So he's my favorite, but but I love producing you guys. But one thing I love about you is you really, really stay true to yourself, but not yet the music stay true to who it is, and that's why I'm so proud of you. To just celebrate you and honor you, but not even that, you have really made so many classic hits for a lot of people. And I'm about to be 33 this year. For me to still remember this album at 17 years old, graduating out of high school, goes to show you that your music meant something to me and the culture. So I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Sure thing. Thank you for being a listener, supporter of my career.
Oh, I have to do, because your partner Bam, he's hilarious. So every time he had made me understand, he was like, "Oh look, we done stuff." I'm like, "Okay, I got you." But I made sure, I made sure for myself that you guys really, really did change a lot of people's lives and careers, and I thank you so much for that. Thank you, and I have to give you your flowers.
Taking them right now. I'm taking them right now.
Oh, thank you so much. So now, do you have any last words before we end today's live, and anything that you got?
I think I said it all.
You said it all.
I think I said it all. I just want people to reflect, and like I said, most importantly, is don't sell the lie, sell the truth.
That's right.
That's it. People are into the truth now. I think we didn't have enough lies between government and just everyday people we deal with.
Yeah.
We didn't have enough lies, so it's time for the truth. So,
amen.
And let's sing the truth, and you sing to the heart will sing back to you.
Right. I got one more question. Are you in Texas?
Why you want to know?
Because I'm in Arlington.
Oh, boy. You asking too many questions, boy. I don't tell my location.
Okay, I ain't going to tell, because I had seen something. I was like, is he? Okay.
I met you why they call me Ghost.
I see. I know why they call you Ghost. Look. Because I got nervous because I was like, wait a minute, I know he's not in Texas. Because, you know, I do my research on folks. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute.
You do your research. I know you do.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Research. I'm pretty sure you do your research.
Oh.
But it's all good, though. I mean,
No.
I'm around.
Okay, I got you. Thank you so much. But now, guys, we are done with my beautiful interview with the R&B and hip hop legend, the producer, Grammy Award, and songwriter, the one, the only Ryan, Dimitri Bowder. Thank you so much. God bless you. Bye-bye. You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.